Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we're going to be talking about the MDI. This is the Mythic Plus tournament that they do. It's like an esport, competitively speed clearing Mythic Plus dungeons, set to the same level, same affixes as each other for competitive balance. And I believe Warcraft streams this on YouTube, and then you can watch the video afterwards on YouTube, which is what I do. If you follow my channel, you might think that maybe I wouldn't like this because I'm not a huge Mythic Plus person. Um, I don't like Raider IO toxicity that comes with that, and I don't like how forced Mythic Plus dungeons feel in the live game. But I do actually really enjoy this tournament because it's a group of high end or close to high end players coming together as a team, coming up with cool strategies and speedrunning things. So if you don't like speedrunning, then it wouldn't be necessarily your favorite thing because that's essentially what it is. I mean, you can talk it up in a way that makes it more complex than that, but essentially that's what it is. You're speedrunning hard-ish content. I say hard-ish because they are still overgeared for what they're doing. Um, again, they go to the tournament realm. They get all the best gear. They choose the best classes, the best racial abilities, and they go through it. And they come up with routes and plays and stuff like that. So, what I want to talk about mostly in this, what we're going to talk about is uh, I went over what it is, but could it be better? Is it good already? Changes that can be made to it, how to increase its popularity, because I think it actually is pretty cool. I don't know if I like it or the Arena Championship better. I do like watching both of them, but I do have some ideas on how to make MDI better in particular. So, during BFA, that's probably when I started watching it the most. And the one issue that came up was they're really class stacking a lot, and it was like three hunters. So you would have whatever the best tank is, whatever the best healer is, and three hunters, and it was literally the same thing every dungeon. It's not a great viewing experience because it's an esport, so let's compare it to another sport. It'd be like watching the same team face each other, and not just one time, because that'd be probably be pretty cool. So the Super Bowl coming up, so that's Chiefs versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So if it was Chiefs versus Chiefs, that would probably be pretty cool one time. But if it was Chiefs versus Chiefs every game of the playoffs and then also the championship game, that wouldn't be so cool. And so the class stacking thing was put an end to, and that actually helped a lot. Now there's still inconsistencies because there's still classes that are just superior to others. So, but now what we have is we have a combination. We have mage, we have some hunters still, we have from some niche boomkin, some niche rogue, DK, and monk. Those are like the main DPS classes. Now that's still only 6 things that I named, but that still is a lot more than just hunter. Now, part of what would make it better is if we could expand that even more, and I'll get into that a little bit. So we did that, and that actually made the proc better. I've seen people say, well, you can't force them to play subpar things because that makes it not fun. Well, I agree. If a class is really weak, like I don't even know what the weakest class in Mythic Plus would be, DPS class, but like you can't force them to take that. I agree. That's not good gameplay. But there's other classes that are close, and you could have them bring them, even though they're not optimal, just so there's not the stacking, and so that way you get variation of from game to game as a viewer, and I think that would increase people's the amount people like it, the amount people want to watch it. Also, it gives people more an opportunity to see their spec being played or their class being played on there. No warlock has saw a warlock basically. I play a paladin. There was a holy paladin one game. Someone was trying like a unique damage strategy with a holy paladin, and that was kind of cool. But it was only one game, and so druid again is it. That's a very heavily played class in the game, but that's for a very niche single target. A lot of times, tyrannical single target boss damage is why you choose a boomkin. So, that's not the only time. Some of the people are using boomkins in general. They are quite strong, but and then like rogue was basically just used for necrotic wake to kind of cheese the weapons that you can use in there with one of their legendaries or abilities. I can't remember which one. And so you have a more of a mix than stacking hunters, but you still don't have enough. And one thing we could do is a very popular thing to do is skips, and I don't like skips. Maybe I might be the only person here that doesn't like skips, but I don't like skips. I think you should have to plan your route, plan everything around doing things in the dungeon. Um, and if I'm trying to think of a because it is part of the mechanics of the game, right? Like you can feign death, you can go invisible. There are mechanics in the game that allow you to skip, but I think if they could do less skips, that'd be good. And there is one way to do it that's not like completely taking away from what the game mechanics are, and that is how they you can't class stack. You could non-racial stack. So right now, almost everybody just plays night elf, and then um, they use shadow meld for skips because that's like a free, drop combat, and they'll use shadow meld for skips. Now, if you could only have one shadow meld, that would decrease the number of total skips that you could do. You could still do skips in various ways. You could have like one death skips, like where one person dies and then you res them as everyone else skips it. You could still do skips, and I think it would cut down on it. And this would also open up more classes being able to be played because Night Elf can't play everything. Night Elf can't play Paladin. Night Elf can't play Warlock, some of the classes that aren't represented. So there'd be more of a chance for them to be represented if you just simply said, just like we have no class stacking, we now have no racial stacking. You can only have one of each race. Now you might have to open that up to be Horde teaming up with Alliance. It is a tournament realm. I imagine that has to be possible. I guess I don't know that for sure, but it is a tournament realm. So, because I do think there are 5 playable racials on each faction, but I'd be open to that personally. If that would like qualm any debate on the other side of it, I would be open to that personally. So I think by eliminating the full Night Elf comps on the MDI, that would not directly but indirectly increase the number of classes and specs played, because not everyone would be limited to what only Night Elves could play. So that would increase that dramatically. And for me, I don't like skips, so it would also decrease the number of skips or the amount of time gained from doing the skips, because you might have to sacrifice someone. And when I say one death, because the only way I could really think of it is, for example, have your demon hunter tank be the night elf, and then have a hunter, mage, and rogue as your DPS, and then hunter, mage, rogue. So I guess that would be rough, because you'd have to have your healer die, and then I don't know who reses your healer unless he gets far enough away from the mobs to NG res him. Or you could get to a checkpoint and have him res past that checkpoint. There are ways to do it, but you just would have to be very creative with it, and then the skip would be better for me. Right now, it just seems too easy. I don't like it. You see 5 people all get in combat, all use their movement speeds, get 30 yards ahead, press shadow meld at the same time, and then go on about their business. It looks professional, I guess, like because it is coordinated, but it just doesn't look very difficult. And I'm trying to watch something that's more difficult than what I do generally, right? I shadow meld stuff off all the time that I'm in combat with at really good opportunities. So it's like I want to see them handle the content better than I can handle the content, because they put the time and effort into handling the content better than I can handle the content. And that's just me, though. Not everybody's going to agree with the skipping thing, but I think by doing my skipping thing of not allowing racial stacking, it would actually open up other benefits to the viewer experience of the MDI. Other than that, I will say one other thing. So that's multiple birds with one stone there. But one other thing they could do is just increase the difficulty for it, because these players just way outgear what they're doing. At least right now, like I guess I haven't paid attention to every single MDI, what the plus is on it, and then compared to their eye level gear. But I think they're doing plus 18s right now with the best gear possible, and you can do plus 18s without the best gear possible. So I think you should really be really challenging the difficulty. If you can pull 20 things at once, then the difficulty is not high enough. If you can pull 20 things at once on Fortified, then the difficulty is not hard enough. I don't want to see that. I think this would also, again, 2 birds, 1 stone, kind of the theme here. Mages and DKs are played so heavily because they have Unholy DK. and Fire Mage because they have unlimited target caps. So they're played very heavily in the MDI, so they can do these big pulls. However, if the damage done by the mobs was just so high that you couldn't do these big pulls, or their health was so high, etc., and you had to pull like 5 at a time, then all of a sudden you can open up more classes again, because who's the best AoE 5, with 5 mobs? That might be slightly different, or something might be closer and more fun to play, or has a different utility, whether that's like a rep paladin with a bubble and pop and other things that they can do, and a cleanse, and all kinds of other things, that utility that they can offer. That could be good as well. The only other things would be more, big patch, big feature type things, which is just add more utility to different specs. So like if you're going to keep all the skipping and stuff like that, add different skips for different classes and specs, and things like that. So like broad changes to the game, and adding more stuff. I know that's kind of what the community normally goes with. They're like, don't take anything away, add more stuff. I know that's generally the theme, but I think in competitive, that's not the way to go. That's just me. The first competitive scene I was ever really into was like MLG Halo 2. And, what that is stripping down all the big power weapons. You're in the basic stuff. And, I think when you're in competitive play, you want to strip things down more than you want to add it. And just to make it as even as possible and as good of a product as possible. And so that's my belief on it. I know people will disagree with that. At least a certain section of people will. And that's fine. I totally get it. Because, it's not that I don't like rocket launchers. It's that, I'm worried about like the integrity of it. And, not that it's not, not that the MDI doesn't have integrity. It's just, it just stacking up the same things and doing the same things over and over is literally the part that's not fun about it. That's what most people I talk to say. And be afraid, like, I just get tired of watching 300s every time. And so let's think of creative ways to get out of that. That would be my advice to World of Warcraft esports team. If any of you see this video, let's work on that and make a better experience for everybody. So that's all I have to say about this on the MDI. As always, I do ask you to subscribe to the channel because it helps me out so much. And other than that, everybody have a good one.